Hi everybody, time for another He-Man Top 10. This time, it's my Top 10 He-Man standalone villains. While I do like Skeletor and his Council of Evil quite a bit, there are also many great villains who only appeared for a single episode, which I wanted to highlight, so the rules are simple. The villain has to appear in only one episode, which means no to Kothos or Kathos, despite the fact that he appeared in at least one good episode. Secondly, it just has to be a villain I like because it's my dang list. That said, let's get to the list. Number 10, Captain Sticky Fingers. I really like the space pirates from the Season 2 episode All for One, but I was particularly impressed with the menacing presence of Captain Sticky Fingers played by John Irwin.
There's no use struggling. My special tar can hold an army.
Sure, he doesn't do much except stand around, but his power of shooting tar from his hands was pretty novel. A bit silly, but definitely made him stand out. A memorable bad guy from a memorable episode. I reviewed this one last year, so go check out either the episode or the review. Number 9, Lord Mask. This guy only appeared in part 1 of House of Shakoti, but for all his worth, Mask causes a lot of havoc. He has Trapjaw's robot spiders attack the city, he sabotages the heroes' rides, and even has a Lizardman army attack them. Lord Mask is also fairly ambiguous since we never find out much about him, or even how he relates to Lady Shakoti from part 2. In that, he comes off a little shallow as a villain, but a little bit of mystery is always nice, so for that I felt he deserved to be on the list. Number 8, Tauron. Alright, so Orko's favorite uncle was one of my least favorite episodes, but Tauron the Wizard was easily one of the coolest one-off villains from the whole show. It all comes down to that voice from Alan Oppenheimer. It's deep and menacing.
Now the true test begins.
He also does a great deal of magic spells, but his plot of using Montork and Gark to topple He-Man was admittedly a little silly. Also, he deflates like a balloon at the finale, which is just weird. Number 7, Plundor the Spoiler. There's not a whole lot to Plundor, but I still can't get over the fact that he's an evil, muscular rabbit who pollutes an entire world and sucks out its life force to make more money. Out of all the goofy villains voiced by John Irwin, Plundor is the only one I ever enjoyed just because he's so ridiculous. Number 6, the Slave Master. Here's another cool villain from a rather underrated He-Man episode. In the Season 2 episode, Orko's New Friend, we're introduced to Squanch, Orko's friend from Trolla, who has a bad habit of telling tall tales. When the Slave Master arrives on Eternia, Squanch is the one who discovers his ship, and Orko gets captured, putting the heroes in a tough spot since they don't know whether to believe Squanch. Even though the Slave Master plays a small part, he's very menacing, and although I said that I didn't like it when He-Man tried to comment on slavery, they don't lean on the theme too heavily in this episode, yet they get the message through with this character, which is definitely cool. Number 5, Dragoon. Dragoon only appeared in Dawn of Dragoon, which was the episode that introduced us to Trolla. Dragoon is a man-dragon who keeps capturing Trollas and draining their life energy. Firstly, he just looks incredibly badass. Secondly, he very nearly manages to kill Driel by taking her life force. And thirdly, he puts up a pretty good fight against He-Man. Now, Dragoon does reform at the end of the episode, when he nearly falls into the bottomless pit of Trolla and He-Man has to rescue him. It maybe slightly undermines his badassery, but this is definitely one cool character. Number 4.
It's your poopy.
Shakoti, you fool!
There weren't that many female villains in He-Man, but whenever they were featured, they were usually pretty good. Lady Shakoti is just a freaky character who controls the sleeping beast and tries to lure Stanlin into her tomb as a sacrifice. Notably, she manages to capture He-Man, Ram-Man, and Battle Cat. Shakoti is just freaky because it's not even clear if she's alive, dead, or some kind of ghost. Also, her freaking illusions and holograms definitely add to the great horror atmosphere of this episode. She also has a really frightening voice. At the same time though, I can appreciate her hotness. So, this is all around a pretty solid villainess. Number 3, Lord Taran and Lady Valtira. You'll probably remember these two characters from my first He-Man review series, from the Season 1 episode, The Sleepers Awaken. Lord Taran and Lady Valtira are a pair of sorcerers who suck life from trees in the forest until they put themselves under a magical slumber to let the trees grow back. In the meanwhile, Lord Taran has become corrupted by the evil power, and Valtira doesn't realize it initially. It's not until He-Man rescues Valtira from Taran that she starts to realize the error of her ways, but in turn Taran becomes jealous and tries to kill the heroes. Now, Duran and Valtira just barely qualify as villains for this episode, and much like Dragoon, actually reform by the end of the episode. You see, the people who wrote that whole Kathos bit should have taken notes. This is how you make an alignment shift work for a character. You build up to it with genuine writing, and not just put a gun to the villain's head and have them rethink their life through the courtesy of rushed scriptwriting. They're one of my favorite and most colorful character couples from the whole show, and if you haven't seen Sleepers Awaken, you really need to. Number 2, The Enchantress. Another one from my Season 2 favorites was the episode The Search for the Past, which introduces us to He-Man's grandfather. It also introduces a great villainess, the Enchantress. She has amazing powers and really puts the heroes in a tough spot from the get-go. In addition, her malevolence towards the king and his father is pretty strong and interesting. I don't think there's a single more powerful villainess from the show, and that alone made the Enchantress stand out. However, she does get defeated by a disgruntled minion, which is a little lame. However, I knew she needed to be up here. And number 1, Evil Seed. Do I need to reiterate anything about this entry? He's the evil master of plans, who not only conquers Palace Eternos and Snake Mountain with relatively little effort, and nearly penetrates Castle Grayskull as well. Whereas Evil Seed looks a little goofy, Alan Oppenheimer again does a great job with the voice, and his overall power eventually forces He-Man and Skeletor to team up in order to defeat him. And I hate to spoil it, but Evil Seed has the coolest death scene of a villain from the show. In fact, one in very few character deaths we ever see from the show at all. And that's the list. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm Hannu the Hande Mäkinen, and until next time, I have the power, so can you.